Alright, here we are 1 week later.
Yeah, shit.
We intended to do this video a week ago, but it has just been a little hectic, so here we are, better late than never.
That's what they say.
We are going to give our recap review on Miss Universe. We saw our video when we got back from watching Miss Universe live in Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios. We gave our live reaction, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say this is going to be a little bit more in depth, I guess, just kind of talking about more specific things rather than just speaking strictly emotionally, kind of about how we were feeling, because I feel like the last one was more or less just like a rant per se about like how we were like feeling, and just like we were still kind of running off of a high from from watching the show live. So we've had a week to digest.
Yes.
And be a little bit more analytical, I guess you could say.
About some of the specific performances. As for the top 20 and my predictions, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It could always be better, but I was pretty impressed. I think I had 15 of the 20. In the top 20, they first called top 5 or the final 5 from Africa and Asia Pacific, starting with none other than South Africa.
Very fitting. Set the tone for the entire night, I'd say.
At first, during the actual show when we were there, we weren't sitting together, we were separate at first. I was sitting with Nia Sanchez and Sarah Rose Summers. We eventually ended up sitting or standing together at the very back of the room. It was just such a gong show. We already talked about that. Because we weren't sitting together, we were texting each other like what we thought and everything. And when South Africa came up, said this little spiel about how beautiful, you are capable, you are intelligent, he texted me and said, winner.
Right. Yeah. She just looks so comfortable and confident on the stage, and like that she just belonged there, you know, that was her moment.
Right.
And she was not going to let anything mess it up.
Right.
Not even Steve Harvey.
Not even
Just kidding.
Oh my god. And then next called was Indonesia, who's one of our personal favorites because we met her a couple times.
Totally, yeah. We met her the day after, actually, the Monday at the hotel. She's like very cute.
Yeah,
like it's crazy
so
seeing
cute,
her on the stage and like almost be a bit intimidating, and then see her in real life and she's just like this cute individual.
Petite.
Oh yeah. So it was interesting to see her.
Was Miss Vietnam, who was another personal favorite. I think I said this in one of my videos. She was holding Lily during one of the rehearsals, which is so cute, and she just has an amazing story about how she grew up and how she persisted to want to support her family through her work, and so she's an amazing woman. Then we have Miss Nigeria, who was unexpected for me. We didn't. I think we maybe noticed her in
her gown. I remember you turning to me and saying, like, "Wow, she
looked amazing.
Looked definitely very good."
Then we have another non-surprise, Miss Thailand, and she was great. I mean,
kind of what you'd expect from Thailand. I think.
Then we're moving on to Europe. First called into Europe was Miss Albania, who once again we interacted with a few times.
And again we saw her the day after.
Miss Albania, like you said, we saw her the day after Miss Universe, and we met her parents. And one thing that made me really happy was that her dad, he said that he watched a lot of my videos and it helped him. Same with Miss Indonesia's stepdad.
Yeah.
Both of them, these dads, watched some of my videos, and it helped them understand like what Miss Universe was about, what to expect, which to me was so exciting, because it's one thing for us pageant fans to watch videos on Miss Universe, but if these videos are actually helping people kind of get an idea of what it's all about. Next called still in the competition is
France. I like France.
Still in the competition is Iceland, one of our other favorites. We have so many favorites.
Totally. Iceland was one of my favorites throughout the whole week. She seemed like very authentic, and she seemed very genuine, and she seemed like she was just a nice person overall, which is like a great quality, you know.
Still.
Jesus. Croatia.
I thought Croatia was one of the best with Steve Harvey there, because she talked about the girls falling, and so he asked her.
She talked about at the prelims how some of the girls did fall on the preliminary stage. They carried themselves well. They got up, fixed their invisible crown. Yeah. And
kept going.
Kept going.
And Portugal, she was very cute up there in her little chat with Steve Harvey. Moving on to the Americas, the final 5 from the Americas, starting with Puerto Rico, which I think Puerto Rico almost had the biggest fan base in the world.
100% say that's the truth. It was very loud in there when they announced her name, and throughout the whole night.
Yeah. So then Peru, and we really love Peru. We actually met Peru's national director, and one thing that was cute with Peru is she said something like she competed 3 times for Miss Peru and finally made it to Miss Universe. There she was on the stage. Basically, if she can do it, anyone can do it, which was cute. Next.
Inspirational.
Yeah. Next, in the final 5 from Africa, oh wait, no, Americas, was Dominican Republic.
There you go. DR.
DR.
Yeah.
She's very cute, but that was probably this was the most awkward part of the show. So she said something like she feels like ice cream in a freezer.
Oh yeah.
We knew she was like trying to be funny, and then she's like, oh, but things are gonna heat up in the swimsuit competition, and like it was cute, and like I could see where she was going, but it was definitely the most awkward time to be in the crowd. Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico, I think she for me was like a dark horse in the sense that I thought she either was gonna make it into the 20 and then not move forward, or she'd rise all the way to the top, and she obviously proved to rise to the top. USA. We knew USA was gonna make it. She looked great. She's amazing.
Yep.
Fantastic. Now we have the wild cards. Starting with the wild cards was Philippines.
Sure.
Philippines was the first called into the wild card position, and one thing that's maybe interesting that I don't know if some of you guys noticed this, but all the girls were wearing sparkly dresses, and Philippines was the only one wearing this like lilac-y purple evening gown. I mean, she looked beautiful, obviously. She's stunning. We saw her in person. But yeah, I don't know why she was the only one. It just seemed kind of weird.
She looked a little bit out of place.
Yeah, it did. Like when you were in the audience, it did just look a little bit out of place.
And not only were the other gowns or dresses sparkly, but most of them like cut off at the knee.
Yeah.
And hers was like was flowy, you know? It went all the way down like. So.
Yeah, it was so interesting. And then we have Venezuela, who I talked about in a couple of my predictions. Then we have India.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
But
then we have one of our favorites.
With Brazil, we had kind of like a personal connection to her because we met her family during the preliminary competition, which kind of made us like, or at least made me root for her a little bit more because of that sort of like personal connection.
The last spot in the top 20 went to none other than Colombia. Colombia, she gave one of the best performances overall during the 10 days of Miss Universe, I think. She was very consistent. After the girls were called into top 20, they spoke with Steve. Then they all gave like a personal opening statement. And because they were prepared, there were no girls who really faltered. Like they were all good. So we're not really going to go into depth on any of them. I would say the one that was maybe a bit different was France talked about having a twin sister.
Yeah.
And that the role of Miss Universe is really busy. Maybe her twin sister could step in. So it was really cute. Some people were like, that's not an opening statement, but it was definitely memorable.
Totally.
It's one of the only ones I really remember. Other than that, they all did well. In the top 10 was USA, Colombia, Puerto Rico, South Africa, Peru, Iceland, France, Indonesia, Thailand, and Mexico. So I thought this was a great top 10. Would have loved to see Brazil. This comes down to luck as well, like how you perform versus how everyone else performs.
Definitely, yeah.
It's all different. So now we're going to go right into the swimsuit competition. USA. So USA's abs are insane. I kind of talk about this in the prelim, but like, what? Like, never in my life would I even be able to have abs like that. Like, it just wouldn't even be possible.
Yeah, it definitely separates her from the rest of the girls.
Yeah, like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Major dedication there with like your diet, working out. So I would say her performance was good. Like,
well, she was like a track star, right?
And then Colombia, they should have had these capes at prelims instead of the ones that they had, because I actually have seen on a few things, it wasn't the stage itself that was slippery at prelims, it was just them tripping on the capes.
Oh, really?
So they should have had these ones. Like, why not? Like, the girls aren't going to wreck them at prelims. So Colombia's performance, it was good as well.
Yeah.
It was good. South Africa, I thought she was so cute. She's very petite. Like, she's not that tall, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, she definitely works it though.
Yeah, she absolutely, I thought, nailed it. Peru was one of the biggest surprises for me overall. Like, when we saw her that first day when she was with Philippines, I was just like, wow. It's weird that we were here live.
Yeah, I honestly have like no recollection of this.
Iceland is so cute. I really think she'd be amazing at Miss World.
Okay.
Just because of her, like, her background, what she stands for, I think she'd be brilliant at Miss World. France, beautiful, but yeah, her performance was definitely underwhelming compared to the prelims. Then Indonesia, she's so cute, I love her. And Thailand, she was great. She performed better on the final night than at prelims, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And
then Mexico, she's beautiful, obviously, but I just feel like, yeah, maybe her expressions and stuff, like, she's not as like expressive. I would say for me, my favorites in swim was probably Indonesia. Just Thailand, I think, put on a strong performance, and South Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, Puerto Rico was great too.
One that stood out to me the most was USA.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Well, just because of like differentiates herself like with her abs and
Her hair.
Yeah, her hair for sure. And I think that she walked like very confidently.
Yeah, that's true.
She carried herself really well. And then again, like I think Iceland is like the cutest thing
Yeah,
ever.
I know.
So there's that.
We have the top 10 in evening gowns, starting with, again, USA. My personal opinion with USA, I thought, you're right about swimsuit. I thought her swimsuit performance then was a lot more standout than the evening gown.
And I feel like I know what word you're about to say.
Underwhelming. I was totally underwhelmed with her gown, especially her prelim gown was better.
I thought so too.
And then Columbia, her gown, we've seen this gown design quite a bit, but when you look at the details, it's pretty remarkable. Like the details are pretty beautiful.
For sure.
And same with Puerto Rico though. I talked about this in one of my other videos. The gown is obviously beautiful, like it's amazing, it looks amazing on her, but I think she could pull off any color, literally any color. Like she could pull off like lime green like Albania's gown, I think. Like red, pink, emerald green, blue. I feel like she could have worn a color and it just would have been so much more wow factor because so many girls do gold. South Africa, I talked about this in my, maybe in our final recap, but I said she has to wear the gown she wore at prelims. She came out in this gown, it was like...
It's breathtaking.
Absolute wow factor. Like you could tell the crowd was just like, what? And the thing with her gown, she talks about it, she says that it represents the ocean, the sand, the sky, I think, of South Africa, and that she felt like all of South Africa was with her on stage, which to me is, this is one of the things you start to see with the winners of IMG. Some of the other girls say like, I feel like a queen in this gown represents me. Whereas Catriona did this last year with her evening gown. It represented a volcano in like, I think the town where she's from. So it just represented something more than just her and who she is, but rather something with the country and the people. Then we have Iceland. You guys already know how I feel about this gown. It's a beautiful gown, but because she already looks so young, it makes her look younger to me.
Yeah, it makes her look like she's going to her high school prom.
Exactly. I thought she should have left her hair down and worn a different gown. But I mean, to be in the top 10 at Miss Universe.
Yeah, and obviously at this point, like you have to be critical too.
Exactly,
like,
and we're just being nitpicky, really. And then Miss France, I loved her gown. This was one of my favorite gowns at prelims, favorite gowns overall. I thought it was just absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, like you said, I can see there was like a certain wow factor she had at prelims that maybe wasn't necessarily here on the final night. Indonesia's gown, for me, one of the best gowns, easily.
It is,
yeah. Like her and South Africa had my favorite gowns, I'll say that right now. This gown to me was just perfection on her. I wish that she would have worn this gown at prelims just so we could see it more.
Yeah. I think there's a fine line in the evening gown competition of it like being beautiful and like breathtaking and then over the top.
Right.
Like,
When do you feel like Thailand's is over the top?
That's kind of what I'm getting at, yeah.
I see. Okay, yeah.
And it is beautiful, but like the way she's like walking and
it's too dramatic.
It's a little bit too much.
Yeah, well, you know what? Thailand, at first when she came on the gown, I was like, wow. But then it looked better in person than it does in video and photos.
Mexico.
Oh yeah, Mexico. The whole crowd was like, ah!
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that before.
No, she did a spin and ripped her skirt off, like unbelievable. And this color, usually we see a more bright red, where this is like a deeper wine colored red, which was beautiful. Yeah, after she did that, I was like, okay, she's top 5 for sure. Top gown and top gown performances was South Africa, Indonesia, Mexico. I would have loved to see Indonesia in the top 5. For me, she deserved top 5 based on her performances and her platform. I just think she's amazing. And then of course the top 5 was Mexico, Thailand, Colombia, Puerto Rico, and South Africa. So Mexico's question was, is protest a positive way to create change?
And she kind of danced around it.
Yeah, she did. Like, this is the most nerve-wracking part of the competition.
Yeah.
And it was good. She did a great job. She was calm. She delivered it well. But it wasn't like absolutely amazing, but it was good.
Yeah. And at this point, it needs to be amazing in order to win.
Oh yes, and then Thailand was asked, what is more important to you, privacy or security? And again, I feel like she danced around it. She gave it a really neutral...
And it's a tough question.
It's hard.
Especially with, like, specifically about internet and, like your phone use, like, because it's tough. I don't know how to answer that one. I don't know how to answer any of these questions, honestly. I'm just...
It is hard. Yeah. Well, like you said, we're just being more critical at this point. And then Colombia was asked, what do you believe is the most important issue in women's health? And I heard a rumor that she wishes she would have answered in English because the translator that she had wasn't the same translator she had all week, who kind of more started to understand her. And so maybe you guys can clarify, if you speak Spanish out there, if her answer was translated correctly, because I think she gave an answer that may have deserved top 3, but it wasn't conveyed 100%. And then Puerto Rico. Should social media platforms respect free speech or regulate what people post? She did a good job. She said something about they should keep track of like if there's people who are abusing it, basically they should be called out and not allowed to post on the platform. South Africa, our leaders of today doing enough to protect against climate change?
And she took the approach of not only should the leaders be doing something, but we as citizens should be doing something. Everybody should be doing something to change what's going on right now, because the world's in a very dire state.
Precarious situation.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, so she just nailed it. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
When she answered, we like looked at each other and we're like, all right.
Yeah.
First called into the top 3, Mexico.
Yeah.
Second called
South Africa.
and then last called into the top 3 was the, I would argue, crowd favorite at the time, Puerto Rico. But like we said in our other video, after the top 5, for sure, like the climate change answer that South Africa gave, a lot of the crowd really got behind her, and you could just feel it.
Yeah, well, as the night progressed.
Yeah.
Like when she first was announced in the top 20, there was barely any noise.
Yeah, and even when she came out in swimsuit, but then when she came out in gown, I felt like more people were like getting on board.
And I guess that's kind of natural as the numbers dwindle down, you start picking up different fans from different countries, you know?
Yeah. Final question for all 3 girls was, what is the most important thing we should teach young girls today? Sure. Mexico gave a good answer. Like, I thought it was, once again, it was good, but it wasn't like absolute wow factor.
So for South Africa, she basically said that women have not been allowed to be leaders, they've been allowed to make a change because that's not what society has labeled them to be. And she just like went on to say that like we as women need to take up space, because that's the most important thing that we can do, is occupy different roles and be in a position of power in order to like to make the change. And yeah, it was incredible. The whole crowd kind of like erupted when she finished talking, and when she was even like, as she was kind of ending her speech, like the applause started, you know, like it was kind of breathtaking.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then Puerto Rico, she gave a great answer, but it just wasn't, it was more like, if I were to win Miss Universe, this is what I would do, rather than like,
it was a me.
It was, it was more like about her, and like once again we saw this with previous winners, is that they talk more about like what's needed, what Miss Universe could do for the world, and then like with that, I guess, what their role would be. But once this all happened, I thought that Mexico would be second runner-up, first runner-up would be Puerto Rico, winner would be South Africa, and that's exactly
what transpired.
Yeah, if you guys saw our like live reaction video, you saw our reaction for when South Africa was announced as Miss Universe 2019 is...
Miss Universe is... South Africa!
Yeah, and it might be worth saying, like you pointed out to me, that the winner more times than not, like a very high percentage, their hands are on top, which is such a...
Something you never knew.
Well, why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I don't know if there's anyone out there that knows what the hell this is, but
like,
seriously.
Yeah, like to speak personally, like, did you know this at Miss Universe Canada when you competed?
Well,
is that, like,
you know what's really
that
funny?
you try to...
I think that I told you this. I don't know if we can find a clip of it, but Amber Bernacchi was the first runner-up to me. She's an awesome girl. We went to go hold hands.
Yeah.
And like, it was like we were both wanting to put our hands on top, and so like my right hand is on top and her other hand, it was just like, let's see your hand. You're like, there it was like, we were both trying to like grab. It was so like awkward and funny. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's a thing.
Yeah, she wins, and
Miss South Africa wins the title of Miss Universe 2019.
as you guys already know, I'm sure.
As I'm sure you're well aware, as it was a whole week ago.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's supposed to be her parents. They're like about to like pass out. Yeah, she was so well deserved. She just gave an impeccable performance from prelims to the final night. We saw it coming. There was people around us who kept being like, no, I don't know, it could be Puerto Rico. And we were like, no, it's gonna be South Africa.
As a kind of a closing statement for me, I'm really surprised how good that crown looks on her head.
Yeah, I know. We didn't like the crown at
I
first.
didn't like the crown.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It looked like big and kind of chunky and like just really like not aesthetically pleasing to me. And then when they put it on her head, it was like, wow, it looks amazing.
It was meant to
be.
be.
It was honestly, like they measured like
they measured her head. It was made for her.
Legit.
Well-deserved win, and I don't even think we have any other things we need to say. A lot of people wanted me to comment why I don't think Miss Philippines made it into the top 10, but I think it was just such a damn competitive year. Sometimes it's just more competitive, harder than ever, and she still did amazing. To be in the top 20 at Miss Universe is such an achievement on its own for all those girls.
I mean, 92 countries represented, So you're in like the top 25%
Yeah, it's crazy.
just
so
to make it to the top
yeah,
20.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And so, anyways, with that, what an amazing year. Hopefully, we're gonna be there next year. We'll see. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Sorry that this is over a week late, but you know, we're doing what we can.
That's life.
That's
I
life.
guess.